Good afternoon, this is Pat Egan, and today we're going to be talking in our Lunch and Learn about Quotewerks and ACT, in particular how they work together. I'm going to start off with a real quick little PowerPoint presentation, but then I'm going to move directly into an example of how we use it ourselves. So when you look at Quotewerks, what is it? It is called a CPQ, which is commit, plan, and quote. All right, so right now in ACT today, it's possible to use a very simplistic Excel-based quote on an opportunity. A lot of people will use Excel spreadsheets that they've built themselves. We've seen quotes done in Word. One of my clients we've been just recently working with, right now everything has been in paper, and the accounting department is just so thrilled about the fact that he's going to be able to get something delivered to him to place the order. And it's kind of like reading a doctor's review. He's going to be able to actually see it in text, and he's just so thrilled. So the quoting should be easy to use. Right now, Quotewerks has got, this is a fairly old, dated information. They've got now 89,000 users. You want to create, deliver, and prepare professional proposals quickly. You want to be able to, when you hire new staff, you want to be able to put them in place with a process that's already up and running. You want to track what they've done. You want to be able to manage where you are in the process. And that's one of the things that ACT is very good at, knowing ACT as your contact manager. And by the way, Quotewerks works with several contact managers. We just happen to use ACT around here, but it works with Microsoft CRM, works with Salesforce, works with Sugar. But it allows you to deliver it allows you to take a very simple quote or even a complex one and turn it into something that's easy to recreate. It attaches to ACT, as you're going to see, so that you can keep track of it in your opportunities. And so it's all kind of nicely tied together. You can build your own templates. You can build configurations and bundles. I'll talk a little bit about that. And it also integrates with both Peachtree, Sage 50, and QuickBooks. And I'll actually show you that as well. All right, so this is a little bit, you basically have got, there's your CPQ, right? Quote proposal automation. It's got accounting integration. It allows you also to get electronic signatures and online payments with something called Quote Valet, which we absolutely adore. You know when your quotes have been viewed on the Quotewerks and Quote Valet. You can actually set up approval and peer reviews. So if you have fairly new salespeople and you want to make sure that they go through a process of review, you're able to do that. You can also set up things like recurring product payments and leases. So basically, the whole idea is you're creating these proposals and quotes. You want to then integrate them with your CRM. You now want to deliver them to the customer. You want to track the interactions of your customer with those quotes. You want to be able to report on them, and then you want to go ahead and place orders. So basically the way it works is you're in ACT, you select a contact. You open up Quotewerks, and you start adding products and services to that quote. You then deliver that quote, whether it be via email or PDFs or across this online system that I'm going to show you called Quote Valet. Then the customer accepts it and makes payments. One of my favorite things is to get a payment before I've even gotten an invoice. I'll talk about that a little bit as well. And then basically all of this gets updated in ACT as opportunities. I've worked with quite a few sales managers, and they said one of my challenges is getting my people to use opportunities. Well, they're going to make a quote. Almost everybody makes a quote because that's where the money is. Well, it's nice if I can take that and combine it into two options, two services that do the same thing. I create a quote, I've got a quote going out to the customer, and it's going to automatically put this opportunity in ACT for me. So the way this is going to be working, this is the interaction. You open up a contact in ACT. You then open up Quotewerks, and on the Quotewerks tab, you can basically then say, I want to go do a lookup, or use the existing current contact that I'm in. Then once I do that, I actually go into my quote. I start putting in my products. Then I go and say I want to save this quote and deliver it. And at this point, it pops up this box. This is all Command of Quotewerks, asking you to then, all right, I'm going to save a quote. It'll allow you to check and say, I want to create a follow-up call in ACT. I want to, or a to-do, and I want to create a sales opportunity. Once you say, I want to create a sales opportunity, it pops up this box that says, okay, at what stage of the opportunity are you at? So see what I'm happening. I'm doing a quote, and I'm also creating this great opportunity. Next thing it's going to then do is write that opportunity into ACT, as well as also placing it in the Documents tab. You can then go to the Documents tab if you want to quickly get to this quote, and this is the integration part. So if I click on this quote, it's then going to open it up in Quotewerks. Talk a little bit about pricing, and then I'm going to go directly into my demonstration. I'll show you where this link is on the website. You can go up there, and if you put the number of users in, the price will go down. This is a tiered pricing. It also uses something called concurrent pricing. So if you've got, say, an office of 7 people, and at any given time 3 people are working on quotes, you only really need to buy 3 licenses. If you have remote users who are out in the field and come in periodically, but they're always on their laptops, you would create what's called a remote site installation. Just like you can create a remote database in ACT, you can also create a remote copy of Quotewerks, and several of our clients actually work in that mode. That would require a license for it. So, all right, that being said, so that's my PowerPoint, and now what I'm going to do is minimize it and show you. We're going to have Quotewerks here, and then let me bring up ACT, and we'll pick on my record. So here's my ACT database. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go find a contact. So we're going to pick on my record. Then I come over here to Quotewerks, and let's maximize it, and let's just talk a little bit about what's here in Quotewerks. This is the area where I'm going to be able to put in the sold to, shipped to, and I could even add a bill to column here as well. You have control over what you can design this look to be. Once I'm in Quotewerks, I can go and look at existing. I can start new quotes, new orders, new invoices, or I could select a template. You may have quotes that you always consistently do. You can create a template and then just keep reusing it. I can then look at a dashboard of past quotes that I am currently working on. This is my real live database. This is live. I can look at that. I can look at my opportunities dashboard here, and then I can also look at Quote Valet, which I'll talk about in a minute. You can then have products that are either imported. If you have price lists, I'm working on one for a client today. They've got several price lists and several databases. So when you are looking at your products, you can set up how the products can come in. They can either come in from QuickBooks directly, or they can come in by spreadsheets or manually entered. So you can have multiple databases in fact, if you do have multiple databases, you can actually go up here to multiple database search and search for products by description, by price, by product ID. All right, these also then, all of these products then will be put into your ACT opportunities table as well. You can set up bundles. So for example, you may have bundles of several products that you want to make sure you add to a suite. So if you pick a bundle, it's going to add 2 or 3, and you can build these yourself. They're very easy to create on your own. The configurator, this is for the much more complex quotes where you can build, it's kind of a flow chart. You can say, one of my clients, they build from the chassis up vans to transport combustible materials for Walgreens, so oxygen tanks. And so what the client will do, will come back and say, I need this kind of a tank arrangement, I need this kind of a process over here, I need these tables over here. And what they'll do is they'll start building it from the chassis up, and then they'll say, okay, if you choose column A, you're only allowed to see these items. If you choose those items, you're only allowed to see these items. So if you've got some very, very complicated steps to put together a quote, it would be easy to do that in a configurator. You can also go back and look at what's the best prices. You can also do some compares. But let's just go ahead and start right now. I'm going to go ahead, and what I do when I start a quote is I click on this button here, which retrieves the current contact. This is why I say, as a best practice, go ahead and just bring in that information. You'll notice over here on the right-hand side, it is showing me that are current quotes that are out here for me as the client. And again, I could also say here, I want to retrieve the current contact, but I may want to be shipping it somewhere else. So I literally could click on this button here and go look for a different address or a different person for it to shoot a quote out to. And I could even include secondary contacts inside of that. Under my sale information, this is where I'm going to be able to put in details like, what is it shipping by? Is there a customer PO? Is there, are there different sales reps? You have an option to choose to have the customer choose to pay by credit card, and soon coming, very soon, within the next several weeks, going to be able to say automatic clearinghouse for checks. So you can put your tax rates here. You can, you have a lot of information that you can fill in here, and you have other custom fields that you can provide. You can put notes then that get put on the quote as you send them out, and this is where area, and you can either have them be they're automatically and saved for you. So you've got internal notes and you've got external notes. You can also come over here to custom, and you can come over here, and any of these fields here, you can change the name of the labels to, like, we want to put maybe the customer number, maybe you want to put in dimensions, length, or whatever other areas that you would like to have added to the quote. You have this many fields to be able to work with. You can also provide links to, for example, videos. One of our clients has videos out there of how big machines operate. And so they're going to be able to put a linked resource so they can go and actually see on the quote, go click here to see how this product looks. When you're here at the document items area, this is where you can also customize how this appears as well. But then you can start looking at your products database and start adding products. I'm going to go ahead into here. I'm going to go into, for example, of our Swiftpage software here. So I'm going to pick on Act Subscription. And when I get this item assistant. And what's really nice about this is I can go back and not only, change my quantity here, and I can change whether it's volume priced. I can change all of that on the fly. I can also go back and look at what is the price history for this item. So I've had a couple clients say, I don't remember what I charged them before. So this keeps a history of how it's been priced with other customers, but it also will keep a price history for the particular customer that you're working with. So I can say, the last time they bought something, we sold it to them at $300. So that kind of keeps it nice to know historical information out there. So I can select multiple products. I can select 2, and then I say add, and I can change the number. And then I say insert it into my quote, insert it into my quote. And now I've got my items here. I can add nice section headers. So I can say this is going to be software. I could add one for parts and services. I can add subtotals in there. When you see on the right click, these are all the different things that you can do. I may want to store a selection of software as a group. I might want to apply a specific cost modifier. Like this particular one, we've got it set up so that it knows automatically when I put in a number, it changes the price. It's that we just put it into the product database that way. So you've got, all this is very easy to customize. You can customize, again, the cost modifiers, your price modifiers. You can look at, if you've got maintenance, product profiles. So you've got a variety of things that you can tweak to fit your business. If you're in a business that has dealing with a lot of different sales taxes, there's even a utility out there that allows you to go and look up different sales taxes and validate them. So once I've got my quote ready to go, when I go to say click on deliver, all right, at this point, first of all, what I probably want to do is do a save, because let me show you what this, all right, I'm going to go down here at the bottom and also say deposit required, because I want to show you what that looks like. You can say I want half up or, all of it. So when I come over here and say save, the next thing it's going to do is tell me I want to save this quote. So I'm going to call this my Lunch and Learn. But what you typically want to be putting in there is what this is. So this is software, and this is where I can choose to whether I have a follow-up call, right, and create an update, a sales opportunity. Next thing it's going to ask me is then, what is that opportunity going to be? And it's going to pop up. It's now reaching out and talking to ACT. And I said, okay, where are we in the sales cycle? I'm going to say we're at the presentation stage. I can probably give it a realistic estimated close date. So here we are. We're doing that opportunity that a lot of salespeople are not really intrigued about doing. So I say, okay. Now at that point, it's written into ACT. And it said you wanted to schedule an activity. So when do you want to schedule the activity? I probably want to schedule it for Monday to give them a call to make sure that they got it. I could also, by the way, back there on that opportunity, I could have chosen a different model for it. We've got one that's ACT sales. We also have one that's data conversion. We also have one that's programming. So on the fly, I could actually change it to a different sales process. So now that I've done that, in fact, let's just show you that that's actually happening over here. I'm going to go in here to my activity on ACT. All right, let's look at today. Actually, I put it for tomorrow. Let's do date and future. All right, so there's my Lunch and Learn Quotewerks, right? I'm going to come over here to opportunities. Here's this opportunity that I created there. There's the $8,550 when I open it up. It is actually an opportunity that's been set at the presentation stage for me, automatically linked in there. So when I open up the opportunity, I'm going to have my products that are there that I ordered. All right. And when I go back to my contact, the other thing I'll have in ACT is going to be under the Documents tab, a way for me to get quickly back to that Quotewerks document. So when I double click on it, it goes back into Quotewerks and opens it up. Now, let's talk about the deliver part. When you click on deliver, Quotewerks comes with a bunch of different templates to use as models. All right, this is our quote. Notice we've got one with product notes, we've got one with deposit. So let's just show you what this looks like. So this is just a simple quote. All right, and let me zoom in for you. So you can customize your quotes, you can add your logos, you can add the information that appears at the top, you can even add your photograph. I'll show you one in a minute. So this is a simple one. But let's say I want to take it up a level and I want to add in some literature. So I may want to add in a proposal document, look at the ACT versions, and maybe some warranties. Notice that they're getting added here. And I may say I want the warranties moved up a bit in the order. All right, so now when I preview it, this is what can be then printed off and emailed in PDF. There's my quote, and then I've got my warranties document. And these are all in Word, and what it's doing is it's pulling in the information from the quote directly into our document here. And I can come down here then and look at the ACT versions and licensing, and then even have a signature file. All of that is now attached to that quote. So when I go back to deliver, I have choices now that I can either just print it. If I do email, once you've set up email in Quotewerks and it knows to go after your SMTP server, you put in all your information. Here's your quote. You can put more information in there. You can also then over here on the right-hand side say log the sent email into ACT. So it's going to attach it to the sold to contact. Or you can say don't log it. But if you mail it from within here, it's going to go into your ACT. So my quote was sent out there. And you can attach any other attachments you wanted. Maybe you want to put in there a contract. We've got several clients, and what they've actually done in their delivery is they've actually put the contract in there as well. One of my clients, they have to do a site review before they can order the product, so they add this to it automatically. So by the time they show up at the office, the client has already filled in the site review. So you can edit these yourselves. Let me show you one down here, some of the nice ones that they have provided. So like this one here, I'll show you what this one looks like, preview. So a lot of times what we tell people to do is just use one of the examples that are out there and then work from it. So here's my really nice document, nice graphics. It's got my photograph in there. There's some really, really slick looking proposals out here, which, as you can tell, we put a little bit of ours in there. So the delivery. Now, next thing you might want to do as part of the delivery is to say, now this is an additional service that's called Quote Valet. It's $25 a month. But it's probably the most valuable thing we have implemented in our business. I can't begin to tell you how much it has improved the return on people saying yes and actually paying. So this Quote Valet, once it gets set up, and this is where you can tell it to, basically it's asking me to save it again, so I'm going to do that. You can tell it, we use First Data for our credit card. It works with Elevon. It works with the majority of the process payment services that are out there. You just to set it up the first time. You can also have it set up with PayPal. All right. So I'm going to finish my service. Now it's going to upload in a few moments here. I'll get the Quote Valet option here, and it said I can even view the PDF if I wanted to here. I'm going to say upload it, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this URL. The idea is you're sending this as an email. Hi, here's your quote. Please click here to approve it and also pay it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you what this looks like here. Bring over my browser. So this is what the quotes look like. Some of you have probably already received quotes from this. So this is saying this is your quote. Something else you can also do, there are things called line attributes in Quotewerks. So you can say they could have a choice. You would go back and say this one is a optional, and you can let the customer choose which one they want. Back down here, this is where they can say I would agree to the terms. When you say I agree to the terms, the next box that pops up is say, would you like to pay now? We tell them you can either send us a check, and use this as your invoice. What happens then is after they've viewed that and accepted it, it's going to come back into Quotewerks and tell me that under Quote Valet. I'm going to be able to see customer viewed the document. It was created and uploaded. You also get access to what's called the Quote Valet summary, the dashboard. So this is the executive dashboard. All right, so I can come over here, and this is an executive summary. So this is things that have happened today. So there's that $8,500.50. Here's some actual ones that have happened. But let's look at, for example, this week. So this is what's happened in our real world. It's telling me, quotes that have been sent out, quotes that have been accepted, how many times have the customers viewed the quote. So you can go and say, it's really kind of interesting. You'll start to see they've been viewing them and looking at them, and I can do as well as an executive summary. We can do a status board. So you get to see the people that have sent out quotes, basically, how many have gone out. Pretty slick. So you can see right away on your screen. And I'll get this notification, your quote's been accepted. And my staff, a lot of people work in this mode. Myself and my vice president are the only people that are in QuickBooks. And so in order for everybody out there that is quoting to be able to send invoices, one of the things you can do in Quotewerks is say, all right, the customer has said they want an invoice. So they can come up here and say File, Convert to Invoice. Once you then re-upload that, then once it's been converted to an invoice, because we run QuickBooks, you'll notice that here in the upper right-hand corner, We've got QuickBooks and Peachtree as options. So and you can see I just got a little email popped up that said Quotevalet was a first view. See, that's what the emails look like. There was a Quotevalet first view. So you get notifications that someone has viewed it. All right, so at that point now, the invoice has gone out. Like I was saying early on in this call, I think it's awesome when I get notification of a payment that's come in and I haven't even opened up QuickBooks. I haven't even generated the invoice. It's been done by my people out there in the field. At that point, then I can come over here to QuickBooks link. I just have to have QuickBooks open. All right, and then I can come down here and take these quotes that are here and import them in. Any payments that have been happening will show up here, and they all get merged in automatically. So I've got an integration with my CRM. So that's how I go out and prospect. Now they've said they're interested in a quote. I prepare my quote. It creates this opportunity for me, and now I can start running and act all those great opportunity reports. I've got a lot of reports that I can also use here inside of Quotewerks. What are today's orders? By rep, what is your sales closure report? There's some really, really cool reports that are out there. We find the reports in ACT because there are 30 to 35 that revolve around opportunities. But we've seen this. I was talking to one of the gentlemen I told you that we did the big, configurator. He told me I want it to be, he said dummy proof, but he said, I said, this is bad wording. Let's just choose a better word. He said, well, no, you could hire a new person and get them productive quickly. Because instead of trying to teach them all the processes of trying to build those vans from the bottom up, you build these configurators, and once you've built these configurators, it becomes, like this one here, entertainment system. You start with that. It said, okay, I want these. If I pick these, add them to my quote, and you go to the next one. Okay, now that you've served that, so think of it. You may have equipment, and it needs to have certain components that go with it, certain kinds of cables that must be applied to it. So you just figure out, you know your process. So you figure out what to do, and it steps you through it once you've built it. And they're not hard to build at all. And one of the other things I like about Swiftpage, about Quotewerks, is the people are extremely nice to deal with. That same company I was telling you about that built this very large configuration system, we were in their office, and we had all the steps and processes on 2 walls paper taped together. And they went with me down to Orlando. That's where the Quotewerks people are based. They went with me down to Orlando. She showed them this and said, it's really hard for me to get from the far right-hand corner back over to the left-hand corner using your design system. They changed the system based on that. That is just unheard of. And they're just the sweetest people. We were there at their annual conference, and we really, really do like working with them. They love what they do. Everybody within the organization also loves working there. And so what I'm going to now show you up here is some information up on Quotewerks. This is the Quotewerks pricing. Buy through us, because we can pass on some. If you're interested in this, we're more than interested and would like to see a much broader demo. We're more happy to do that for you. But buy through us because we can give you a price break. And the other thing is you can also download a free trial. They have a trial for 30 days. But as you notice here, this is where you can put in your pricing, and notice that down here at the bottom it changes based on that. But here up under the home screen, they've got a lot of product information videos. So there's John Liu, that's the president. This is Brian Laufer. Just really, really nice people. They have really great support. They have a great forum. They have a knowledge base similar to the one that you can get from ACT. But we really like working with them. They're nice people. They have a product that works. It just plain works. And it has taken, either really, really simple quotes to some that are very, very complicated. You can start simple, and that's what we're working with a client right now that we've just started him. He said, I want to go slow. I said, okay. So we finally started getting him, because they were new to ACT and new to Quotewerks, right? So we got him up and working on ACT. Then we got him working on Quotewerks. And he said, I want to move slowly on this. Well, his idea of moving slowly, once we showed this to the accounting person who gets the site notes in pencil, they don't want to order these big laundry equipment and not have them fit. So they need to have the site evaluation before they can place the orders. He gets the site evaluations from them handwritten. He can't read it. He said, so that's going to be something we put in Word. But then we found out, he said, okay, now we've got a Sage 100 system. What about, can I get those quotes in Excel format? Well, it turns out you can. You just go into Tools, Export to Microsoft Excel. So all we have to do is make sure that inside of the product definition is the Sage 100 matching number for that product. But you can attach photographs. You can attach, so like if you're selling equipment, your quote can have pictures of the equipment in it. You can, it's a very, very, very versatile product that is really worth the effort, because once you've set it up, now you have a sales process in place. You've got a nice CRM keeping track of things. You've got a nice quoting system that's delivering really quality looking quotes, all the way from a simple one-page quote to proposals. I love this product. So I'm going to suggest that you all, by the way, I'm recording this, and so I'll email that to everybody. And I'm going to open the floor in a minute for some questions. But you can come up here and you can look at their videos. They've got videos about, different solutions, whether you're a manufacturing rep, whether, whatever industry you're in. They talk about the different integrations for the different CRMs that are out there. They have a really good one that talks about ACT. It actually looks a little bit like what I did. But nice videos talking about quote valet, talking about products. There's a ton of training out here. There's a ton of tools to help you get an idea. Take these tours, look at the ones that are out there. We just love it. We have made 2018. We're calling it the year of Quotewerks. We deal a lot with manufacturing reps. We deal a lot with people that sell pretty complex quotes, and we've just seen this. It really does work. So I'm going to go ahead and say, does anybody have any questions? This is your chance. Anybody would like to find out if they can do something or of interest? Did I do a good enough job? You have no questions? I guess not. So that, I promised, would be a quick overview. I said this is our lunch and learn. We try to keep them to 30 minutes. I went over a little bit, but it's really an amazing product. As I showed you, what I'm demoing is our Quotewerks. So if I go in here and open, we deal quite a bit. As you can see, we're using it every single day. We do this for everything, for our software consulting and our merging of data. We use it every day. In fact, Donald, my husband, is a programmer, so we're actually starting to look at some other customizations and integrations that we can do with Quotewerks to make it fit better in some models. So there's a lot you can do with it. I highly recommend. Like I said, you can get a 30-day trial. You can import your products from a variety of sources. You can import it from Excel. It could be a file. It could be an Azure product. It could be Microsoft Access. Wherever you have the products and the data, wherever it lives, you can set it up to bring in, even from Salesforce. So you've got all kinds of ways to get your products in and put pictures on them. You can, I didn't show you that, I'll show you a little bit now. When you're actually working on a product, you can, when I'm editing it, the kinds of things you can do are, edit your pricing, whether or not the line prices. You can put complex descriptions in there. You can say, is it based on volume? Is it fixed? This way you can go into advanced and put in spec sheets. So the one we're working on right now with another large organization is we're putting a spec sheet for each piece of equipment, because what they were doing now, we'd have to go look it all up. I mean, this is going to save them days, not hours, days. You can add custom fields. You can add a picture. You can even attach a video. Is it a recurring kind of a charge? Is there labor associated with it? Are there any required items? This is where you can say, if you buy this, you need to make sure you buy the cabling, particular type of motor. So you can, and then you can also say, here's some optional items I'm going to throw in there. So once you get your product databases set up, it's just a question of, and that's the other thing, everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows what the same price is. Again, you get to see, who bought this last. See product history. So share the product price history. So there's just it's just a great tool. And like I said, we're more than happy to give you some more in-depth studies about how it will work with you. I did something like this, similar to this review, about a year ago. And the people that I'm working with right now, they thought about it for about a year, and we are now rolling it out. That's the one that went from, I don't want to work, I want to slowly work this out, to I've got an email from him. He said, I have a price list. So that's the other thing you probably want to do if you are considering this, is to go after your vendors to see if they can provide the information to you in a spreadsheet format. Okay, that's our Lunch and Learn. That's Quotewerks. I hope you enjoyed hearing about it. Give us a call or send an email to support@eganconsulting.com, and one of us can answer you back if you're interested in hearing more. And thank you very much for attending, and I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thank you again.